So this comes from question 6, same as before. It's saying find the value of the variables in each figure. Now in this case we have three variables. We have z, y, and w. Okay? And this diagram is a parallelogram. We know a few things about parallelograms. So if I've got a parallelogram, let me try to do it better. Okay, that's the best I can do. Alright, so I've got a parallelogram. You know those two sides are equal. You know that these two sides, they are equal. Now, the most important thing you need to know to be able to do this answer is to know that this angle is equal to that angle there. Alright? And this angle here should be equal to that angle there. The greens are the same and those reds are the same. Alright? That is very important. Once we know that, we can answer the question. Now, I'm going to first focus on, because I have two variables here on the opposite sides there, right? It's very tough to use that, right? But if I know that those two sides are the same and I only have one variable, meaning y, then I could answer that question. I could solve for y. So let's start there. So I'm going to try first to solve for y. Alright, so if I know from those properties that the two red angles, the opposite sides there, are equal, right? I can add 2y minus 10 to 56. Oh, sorry, 2y, I can equate the two together. I can say 2y minus 10 is equal to 56, and then find y. So, what's highlighted in blue there, I'll equate them together. So I'll say 2y minus 10 should be equal to 56. Then I subtract 10 on both sides, and I'll get 2y equals 46, or 56 minus 10, 2y equals 46. Then, from there, I need to get rid of that 2. So I divide by 2 on both sides, and I find y is 23 degrees. So we have solved for y. 2 more left to go. Okay? Now, so we now know that those two are 56. And now we can start by finding w. So we'll find w next, and then we'll use that one to find z. Okay, so solve for w. So I'll put a number 1 there, so you know that's the first thing we did. The second thing we did is we're going to solve for w. Okay, so we know that one of those sides, the blue side's 56 degrees. That's that blue one there. The other one, 2y minus 10, we know that's also 56 degrees. That whole thing there is 56 degrees. So 56 degrees plus 56 degrees, we'll write it like that. That plus that plus w plus another w should equal 360. So basically I'm saying all of those should equal 360. Alright? So imagine all those angles, if I add them together, they should add up to 360. So 56 plus 56 is 112. So those constants, I'm going to put those together. I got 112 degrees. And the w's, I can combine those together, and I should get 2w equals 360 degrees. Now, if I subtract 112 on both sides to get rid of that 112, I'll get 2w left on this side equals 360 minus 112. And you get 248, and then you divide by 2 on both sides. Thank you, Maya. I made a mistake here. Who can spot the mistake I made in part 1 when I was solving for y? I can see it now. Over here. Focus. Tell me, there's a mistake I made in the first part. Somewhere there's a mistake. Tell me. Yes, I took away 10 instead of adding. You see on the left side here, I'll show you. If you look here, if I want to get rid of this 10, I have to add 10, because negative 10 minus 10 would give me negative 20, not 0. So here I have to add 10 on both sides to make sure that this thing disappears. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just edit that a bit. So I have to add 10 on both sides, then it'll disappear, and then it'll be 56 plus 10, which is 66, and then 66 divided by 2 is 33, not 23 degrees. Could you please fix that? You guys need to be focused, alright? Okay, so I need to now adjust this. I'll start this one again because it's so messy. Alright, so now to solve for W, I want to say if I add all of those angles together, so that should not be 56, that should be now, we know that whole angle there is 60, sorry, it is 56, that's 56 degrees here. Okay, so I could have done that one the same. Why did I even remove it? So that should have stayed the same. Because 56 doesn't change, right? Okay, so I'll start from the top for part 2. So solve for W. 56 plus 56 plus W, adding all of those up should be 360. 56 plus 56 is 112. W plus W, 2W, equals 360. Then to get rid of the 112, make sure I don't make mistakes this time, I have to subtract 112 so that they'll cancel out. And then I'll get 2W equals 360 minus 112. 360 minus 112 is 248. And then to get rid of that 2, I divide by 2 on both sides. So you divide 2 on both sides, you shouldn't do it like that. I divide by 2 on both sides, and I get W by itself is equal to 124 degrees. That's W. Could you check if my answer is right, Maya? Okay. So W sorted. Can you see why sorted? We have one more to find, and that is Z. Okay. Now, if I know W is 124, at our diagram up here, I told you those opposite sides are equal, like the greens in this diagram here. You see those two angles? They are equal. So, if I'm looking for Z now, I'll just put a number 3 here, solve for Z. If I solve for Z, W, which is, I'll write here W equals 3Z plus 4. Do you see that? That W in yellow should be equal to the opposite one, 3Z plus 4. Then, I already know what W is, Yasser. Tell me, what is W? 124 degrees. So I just found that from my previous step. And so 124 is 3Z plus 4. 3Z plus 4. Now, what I want to do is subtract 4 on both sides so I can get rid of this 4 on the side of that Z. If I do that, I get 124 minus 4 equals 3Z. Because that 4 would cancel out. 4 minus 4 is 0. Then I've got 120 equals 3z. Divide 3 on both sides, and you get, is it 40? Thank you, Abdi, and that's z. And then I can just write it the other way and say z equals 40 degrees. And I found my answer. I found all three variables. Y first, then I found W, and then I found Z. Any questions?